Hello, Steve Mills here again, and welcome back to the Results Podcast. It's great to be here sharing with you some more tried, tested and proven ways in which you can grow your business. That's what it's all about. Now, today, I suppose, is here with a bit of a warning. It's about why businesses fail, not so much about why they succeed, but I think it's important to know why they fail so that we don't do it. That's the real key to that. Now, I don't know whether you've read The E-Myth, which is a book by Michael Gerber, but if you have, or even if you haven't, I strongly recommend you reading it again or for the first time. It's a fantastic book, and I actually think there should be a law in this country, in fact throughout the world, that says you're not allowed to start a business until and unless you've read The E-Myth. I'm that convinced about how good it is. And The E-Myth, which is actually the full title is The E-Myth Revisited, is got a subhead called Why Businesses Fail and What to Do About It. Now, clearly, I want to be very clear on this. I'm not saying this is the only reason why businesses fail. It's not, but it is, I believe, the main reason. Now, the reason businesses fail is, as I said, many different reasons. If you speak to accountants, they'll tell you it's poor management of the money and cash flow and not getting paid on time and getting your pricing wrong and profitability and all those things. And, don't get me wrong, all those things are important, clearly. However, my belief, and I really do believe this very, very seriously, is that 80% of all businesses that start this year and started last year and the year before and so on and so forth, 80% of them go bust, so cease trading, no longer exist within 5 years of starting out. Now, if you're past that 5 years, don't breathe a sigh of relief, because of the next 5 years, a full 90% of the 20% that were left after year 5, they've gone too. So, if the first 5 don't get you, then the chances are the second 5 will. Now, okay, you might be thinking, blimey heck, this is not great, Steve. This has hardly motivated me to start a business or continue with my business. But, the fact is that most businesses don't succeed. That is a fact. Now, to make sure you're in that top, whatever it is, that top few percent of businesses that are going to stick around for more than 10 years, one of the keys is this. You have got to become good. And this is like my interpretation of the number one reason businesses fail. It's that you've got to become good at selling and marketing your products and services. If you could sell enough products and services, you could get round the cash flow. You could employ somebody to manage the cash flow for you. If you got enough sales, you could employ somebody to deal with all your HR issues. If you got enough sales, you could do whatever you wanted, really. That's the truth. Enough sales, you can get somebody in to train your team, to market yourself, to, deliver the service and customer service and so on and so forth. You could basically run a successful business. However, here lies the problem. People are not very good at marketing. When I say people, I'm talking about the owners of small businesses. They're just not. Half of them, in fact, I'm going to say 3/4 of them, sit back hoping that they'll get business from referral. They go to a few networking events. They perhaps do a bit of exhibiting. They don't understand digital marketing. They don't know anything about search engines. They do very little in terms of communicating. They've got a website, but they don't ever do anything with it. They don't know or understand how important traffic is to a website. They don't have a system for winning business from referral. And basically, they don't understand how to get more sales. And if you think about it, why would they? And as Gerber says in his book, the reason they don't is expertise. And what Gerber means by that is that they are experts at doing what the business does. And that's what he says is the real problem. And so the garage mechanic opens their own garage, believing that because they can repair cars, and they're really good at it, and they enjoy doing it, that they can run a business that does that work. The hairdresser opens their own hairdressing salon, believing because they've been a hairdresser now for 20 years and they now want to do it for themselves, that they can run a hairdressing salon that does that work. And it simply is not true. The accountant opens up an accountancy practice, believing because they're a good accountant that they can run an accountancy practice. And again, it's not true. And the reason behind that is that the skills required to be a good mechanic are a million miles away from the skills required to be good at selling and marketing. They're just not the same. You see and understand that. I really hope you do. I hope you're getting this, because in every business, no matter what the industry, no matter what the business, there are three departments that you need to be really good at. One is operations. You've got to be good at doing the work. If you're rubbish at doing the work, it doesn't matter how good your marketing is, because you're just going to lose customers. There's going to be no repeat business. You're going to get lots of complaints, You've got to be good operationally. But let's assume you are good operationally, because I think most businesses are pretty good at that. If I was a landscape gardener, I've been doing it for 20 years, set up my own landscape gardening business, chances are I'm going to be pretty good at landscape gardening, because that's what I know, that's what I love. I'm an expert, or I've got a high level of expertise in that particular field. So let's just assume the operational side is taken care of. The second one is finance. I suppose you could call it finance and HR. We need to be good at finance and HR. But if you look at what we employ, often we employ an accountant to deal with that, and perhaps even a bookkeeper to do that type of work for us. And what do we get? We don't. I mean, obviously, different accountants are different, and I'm not really, tarring every accountant with this brush. But often, if you employ an accountant and you give them a brief, which is to produce an end of year set of accounts and to give us a little bit of tax advice, and perhaps even to do the VAT for us, then that's what they do. But when do they do that? Well, they do the end of year sometime between the end of the year and normally about 18 months down the line. So, they'll do your accounts maybe 18 months after the start of last year. So they tell you basically how well you were doing either last year or maybe up to 18 months before. Now, how valuable is that to your business? Let me ask you a question. How valuable is it? Well, if you talk to accountants, they'll tell you that most business owners spend less than 5 minutes reading their accounts. They sign them at the end, and then they send them off to a company's house for filing. So there's not a lot of value in that. So, you need to pay your accountant more money to get more help. That would probably be good advice. However, how good are you from a financial side of your business, managing the money? How often do you check in on where you are financially? How often do you read a spreadsheet showing your profit and loss, or your balance? How often do you check on the outstanding debts, and how good are you at managing that side of the business? Because if you're not very good, then that could really hurt you. And obviously the third side of the business, the third section, the third department is sales and marketing. And again, if you've not invested any time and money in your own knowledge of sales and marketing, then you're probably going to fail, or at least you're not going to succeed to the level that you could if you did. I was talking at an event, it's probably a couple of years ago now, certainly before the COVID time, and there was over 1,000 people in a big auditorium in Birmingham, and I said, hands up, who's responsible for sales? And I literally got 1,000 hands. And I said, okay, hands up, who's done any sales training in the last year? And I probably got about 50 hands. And I said, you what? I said, we've got 1,000 people here. We've got about 50 people who've done any training. I said, would you really employ a salesperson who's not bothered to do any training for themselves for over a year? Some salespeople that I meet very proudly say, I've never done any sales training. I've just made it up as I go along. How good is that person going to be? Give me a break. They're going to be an expert, but without doing any training, without spending any time developing their skills. And then you get people who are in, we do all our marketing ourselves. I get told that, and I say, well, right, okay, so how what's your knowledge of Google advertising like? Oh, I don't get that. What about digital marketing? No, I don't really do any of that either. You get the idea. If you invest just a small amount of time, maybe even like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes a day for the next year, can you imagine how much better you're going to be at marketing? Can you even imagine that? Instead of listening, to the radio, on your way into work, you listen perhaps to a podcast like this, or you signed up to an online program and you did it while you're at lunch. At lunch you're going to eat your lunch and listen to the training in sales and marketing at the same time. That's the way I've done a lot of it, to be honest. I've listened to some of the best people in the world. I've bought books. I've listened to audio programs. I've listened to cassettes. Yes, I am that old. I've listened to CDs. Now I do most of my training is now online. I've spent somewhere in the region of £150,000 on my own training over the last 25 years. And I've spent over 20,000 hours. Now, obviously, I don't expect you to do that. My job, my mission in life is to help people with their marketing. Now, that might not be yours, and so you don't need maybe that level of investment. But what you do need is to invest. If you want to be successful, if you want to raise the bar, if you want to raise the game, if you want to become more successful, if you want more money in your bank, you cannot do it by hoping that you're going to be more successful. You cannot do it by bitching and moaning about how awful things are with the government and COVID and this and that and the other. You've got to get yourself out there. You've got to push forward. If you're serious, you don't have to. You can stay where you are. But as the old saying goes, if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you've always got. And that is so incredibly true. I always loved Einstein's definition of insanity. He said that it was doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So when I talk to people and say, are you looking to grow your business, right? Oh, yeah, I'm looking to grow your business. I said, well, how long have you been in business? Well, 4 years now. And how are things going? Well, it's going okay. And is your business growing right now? Well, no, it's not really grown that much. We turn over pretty much what we did 3 years ago. And I said, so what are you going to do different then? Well, we don't know. We just do the same things again and again and hope that it starts to work a little bit better than it did before. Do you know what? That's a recipe for disaster. So if you're buying into what I'm saying, and I'm saying it very sincerely because it's what I believe. If you're buying into that, then why not set up a meeting with me? I'm very happy to talk to you. This is not a meeting for me to sell or to push stuff onto you, to give you a hard sell in any way. All I want to do is to demonstrate my expertise further with you by helping you with your marketing online on a Zoom meeting for 30 minutes. I'll give you that time totally free. And at the end of it, if you decide that, you want to talk to me more about additional help, then that's cool. That's great. If you don't, that's also cool and great. And at least you'll have, maybe taken something from the meeting that you can use to grow your business. So that's my offer. Want to take it up? I really hope you do. If you do, go to www.steve-mills.com. On the homepage, you'll see my online diary. Go to there, find a date, find a time, put your details in, and you can book a meeting then and there online with me. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you again on my next podcast. Thank you.